recording, Mr. Mo.
I'm ready.
You look like you're ready.
I look hungover because I am. I had a lot of fun last night.
You need some braces with those spectacles you're wearing, and old school Chris could go back to life, you guys.
Hey guys. Hey guys. I did your homework.
I did your homework, so you got to steal my lunch money. Oh, you still want my lunch money? Oh.
Yeah. I had the worst day yesterday, and I hit the bar hard. I was like, you know what? I'm going ham. But I it
As
all
opposed to
started.
when has the best day and he has to hit the bar hard, but those are different.
It all started when I was supposed to be in the office by 9 for a very important meeting. And so I left my house around 7:30 because it takes like 45 minutes to get to the office.
Okay.
And I got on the train and I just sat there for like 15 minutes and the train just wasn't moving. They kept making announcements. They were saying the trains are not going across the river. So in Queens, there's no trains going past Queensboro Plaza because there's a fire in the tunnel. It affected the N, the W, the R. Then they were like, take the 7 train. But then the 7 train wasn't working because someone jumped in the tracks. And then there was some signal issue and something happened. So like the B and the D's weren't working. All the trains that I needed to leave my house just weren't working. So I jumped in an Uber. I spent like $80 on an Uber, but everyone, their mother called an Uber. So I got to the office late, around 9:30. It took me 2 hours. I sat in traffic for 2 hours. Oh, it was horrible. Such a shitty. And then everything went downhill from there. I was like, oh my God, I should have just stayed in bed. I should have called out sick today. But the MTA sucks. It boggles my mind that people are like, New York is so great. I'm like, no, New York sucks. The trains suck. If you've ever been to like Korea, Japan, like the trains are on time, they're clean, they're efficient. But New York, it sucks. It's so gross.
Yeah. Well, maybe not North Korea. They might send you to the gulag if you pee in the train station.
There's a North Korea? Just kidding. What?
Well, that sounds like a terrible day. It's always going to be a bad day when the D don't work. Write that down.
I always take the D to work.
That's right. Anyways, because I know we will forget, we're going to do this in 3, 2, 1.
What are you doing?
Testes in my mouth.
Get on the ground, you fucking pledge!
Ew.
Welcome to the greatest podcast experience of your life. This is the FratChat Podcast.
All young men like 3 things. Food, booze, pussy.
Featuring Carlos Garcia and Chris Moore.
And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasting. It's the FratChat Podcast. I'm Carlos Garcia, and this is Chris CMO Moore. How's it going, Mr. Moore?
Good, but the weather's horrible. Is it raining at your house too?
Oh, it's like the apocalypse out here right now. I'm glad.
It looks like it's like 9 p.m. It's only noon.
I know. It's crazy. I took Stella out right before it got bad, luckily. But then as soon as we came back in, it got real bad. It's because of these fires from Canada that are sending the smoke over here. So then the rain tries to clear things up. But yeah, it creates weather events all over. So the air quality right now is apparently like if you're out for a day in New York City, it's like smoking 7 cigarettes. So not great for you.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully this rain helps clear some of that out. Hopefully these fires go away because, yeah, it all affects everything, which is crazy. Pretty crazy.
It's hailing at my house.
Wow, it's hailing.
Yeah, I
Wow.
don't know if you can hear it. It's like ding, 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 ding
Not,
on
yeah,
my AC unit.
that's cool. That's crazy. Hail is just such a weird. See, it's like really thundering over here. I don't know if you can hear that. The listeners probably will, because my mic will probably pick it up. But it's like rumbling my apartment building. It's
I
like
thought it was just indigestion.
That's why I'm drinking my probiotics.
Nice.
I had a lettuce wrap yesterday for a little spring cleaning,
They said that a Taco Bell's got hit really bad with this. I guess the lettuce that Taco Bell gets from like Mexico had all these parasites in it. It affected West Virginia, Ohio, Michigan, a lot of states.
And stoners everywhere, I'm sure, because everybody loves Taco Bell. Taco Bell is great, I have to say.
Thousands of people were affected. Thousands. I didn't know so many people like Taco Bell.
I know. Well, it's cheap, and you can get a fuck ton of money. Like if you bring, even in this economy, you go to Taco Bell with $20, and you just fucking say, "Get me whatever $20 gets me," and you're gonna walk out with a fuck ton of food. Especially if you order things individually. Like it is crazy how affordable it is, but at the same time, not necessarily worth a month diarrhea.
I think Taco Bell already kind of gave me diarrhea, but these parasites.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing, anyways. But they removed shredded iceberg lettuce, pico de gallo, guac, and cilantro onion blends. Like, if you take away, I mean, lettuce, you don't really fucking need for anything. I get it. That can go. But pico and guac for Mexican food? What are you doing here, people?
So it's just meat and cheese?
Yeah, just close down shop at that point. Like, just fucking, take a little pause. Taco Bell's been around forever. It'll be around forever. I don't think they need the money that bad.
Meat and cheese is what I find underneath foreskin whenever I date a Latin guy. From under cheese from under your skin.
What's up with the cheese, Mr. Mao? I always love when people ask you. I think someone at my bachelor party asked you, if I remember, what's from under cheese?
I said like, I was like, do you like from under cheese? And he was like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, from under cheese. If you don't know, you can't afford it. But anyways, that's enough from us. It is time to hear from you guys. It is emails from the listeners. We got two good ones.
Yours is long. Mine's short.
Yeah, that's what she said. Is that why you're wearing those spectacles?
I'm wearing these spectacles because I look so hungover without them. Look how sad I look.
Yeah, you do. You look very sad. I want to get, actually, which might benefit your hungover self right now, but I want to get the cold things people put under their eyes for the eye bags, because I feel like I don't necessarily have them, but they're coming.
I get them, and I wear them when I'm on the flights, when I'm flying. Tomorrow I'm flying to California.
Yeah, you get puffy on flights. Like not you, but like general you, like people speaking, generally speaking here. Yeah, for some reason, going on flight, I don't know if it's the altitude or like the fact you're more dehydrated, but it can fuck with your skin actually if you fly a lot. So it's good to.
I'm such a fag. I'm that fag on the flight. They'll put like one of those like sheet masks on my face. And people are like, he's so weird. I don't give a fuck. I don't know any of you guys. I'm not gonna see none of you motherfuckers ever again.
The ones that look like when Hannibal Lecter rips that guy's face off and puts it on himself. Like,
yep, that's me.
And turn around.
Hello, Paris.
Yeah. Excuse me, sir. Would you like anything to drink? I'll take a Chianti and some fava beans. What? Okay, dude. Yeah. Wow.
If you were stuck in the tundra and the only way to survive is to eat one of your own, could you do it?
I think I think right now you want to say no. If you have to, dude, eventually you get hungry enough. I think I could. It depends on who it is, though.
I
Like imagine like maybe like I don't know. You're kind of skinny, so maybe it's not great, but you're very clean, so that's good. If we get lost in the wild, I have to eat you. But like if it was like like some guy who's like covered in shit and piss and stuff. He hasn't showered in 16 weeks, and that's who you have to eat. It's kind of like, oh man, like.
well, I think I would just volunteer to be eaten because I know that I'm one of those freakazoids that if I were to eat red meat, it has to be well done. My burgers, my steaks have to be well done. I can't do even the slightest amount of pink grosses me out. It's like the texture is mealy. It's just ugh. And so so if you have to eat a human, I'm assuming it's not going to be well cooked if you're in the tundra. So I don't think I could even stomach it.
The dudes that crashed on the airplane in Chile in 1972 that had to eat their friends, they figured out how to make a fire even in the tundra because they found enough stuff in the airplane. So they would use that to help melt ice, which ultimately is what kept them alive the longer because they were able to make water. And also, they were cooking the people that they were eating. Like sometimes they would have to eat them like jerky, but once they figured out fire, once they were there long enough, they would cook them. And actually, cooking them is what brought the people that didn't want to eat the humans over to the side of fuck it, because they started smelling the cooking flesh, and at that point, they hadn't smelled the cooking flesh in fucking weeks. You know what I mean? So they were like, "Oh, that smells too good. I gotta try it." Like, I'm sorry.
I think once I run out of granola bars, I might even just I'll just jump off a cliff and say, guys, whatever splatters is yours. Eat it up, have at it. I couldn't do it. What a
Be
fun
like,
topic.
Wait till I'm dead, Carlos. Stop biting me. Oh, sorry. Really hungry, man.
Hannibal Lecter makes me think about things. Okay, so should I do mine first? My email? Mine's short and sweet. Just like your wiener. Okay.
So, it's because I dipped in sugar.
This is Jeff from Charleston, South Carolina. I always wonder, I think I get Charleston and Charlotte mixed up. Because Charlotte's in North Carolina, right?
Yes. Correct. But there might be a Charlotte, South Carolina, too. Because they're still, let's see.
Because when I saw Charleston, South Carolina, I thought to myself, no, it's not. And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, it is.
Yes, but there is Charlotte City in North Carolina. Yeah, no, it's just North Carolina.
I heard Charlotte was a slut in high school. All right, so Jeff from Charleston said, I love ChatGPT and the convenience of AI, but I'm watching all these news segments that say AI is bad. It takes a lot of energy, the data centers are loud, and it's replacing jobs. Am I part of the problem? Yes.
Depends what you're using it for. Yeah, but it depends what you're using it for. I will say ChatGPT has been extremely useful for me for work. It made me so much more productive. Like right now, I get a lot of, scripts sent my way and product stuff that I gotta read and act for. And sometimes there's a lot in there and it becomes very complicated to read. And you'd be surprised how complicated it can be. So I just, PDF that shit and put it through ChatGPT and say, hey, break this down for me. What's my plan of recording here? What's my plan of attack? And we work it through together. And then you have to correct it and stuff because you can't just take what it does at face value. Sometimes it's wrong. In fact, many times it's wrong. But it does things way faster than if I were to try to fucking read through the 50 pages I get sent and then, break it down myself. So, it can be extremely useful. If you're fucking like one of those people who just sits there talking to ChatGPT about your day, then yeah, you're a huge part of the problem, and you're very wasteful. So it's about how to use it, asking the right things, and telling them too. I tell ChatGPT all the time, stop wasting messages. Like I don't need the back and forth. I just need you to do what I'm asking you. But yeah, I wouldn't want to live next to a data center. I'll tell you that much.
You know, I heard that they're super loud, and that I think it uses a lot of water because
yeah, exactly. Well, it ruins the water. It's terrible for the environment. So then, people then when you go, to have a glass of water, your formerly clean sink water comes out brown now, and it's just really fucking bad for the environment. So they do need to figure out a way to make it more environmentally friendly because I don't know if it's solar power is the key for that or what the fuck it is. I'm honestly surprised that they use so much of the environment just to run this.
Don't use windmills because Donald Trump's going to throw a hissy fit.
They're killing the birds. Okay, believe me, they just spin around and then the birds run right into it. They can't see the windmills.
No, I think he said, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought he said one time they kill whales. And I was like, what the fuck? What's he talking about? Oh, dumb fuck.
Whales like to fly. Okay, believe me. You just don't know about it. I know about it because I know a lot of things. Believe me.
I don't want to be part of the problem, but I do think that, like, remember when, well, maybe you don't, but when I was younger, like, computers were new and the internet was new. And there was a lot of people who were like, they were like, fuck it. Like, I don't like change. But obviously it's changed the world and how we live. So I feel like the sooner you like acclimate and like get with the program, the better off you're going to be. So like, I think everyone should just figure out how AI will benefit them in their lives. And like, it's not going anywhere,
It's easy to say that unless you're one of those towns that a data center gets fucking plopped right into it. Because what's happening right now is there was this ruling that whatchamacallit, corporations can vote in local elections. They can't vote in like gubernatorial elections or presidential elections. And we actually discussed it on the pod, but they can vote in local elections. And local elections actually are more consequential than people know. People pay attention just to the big stuff, but local elections where a lot of like things like these permits for these data centers and things go through. So when these corporations can vote in things like this, they can get those things passed that might completely fuck you over. So you could be living somewhere for 50 fucking years, and all of a sudden your town approves this data center next to your house, and now you have like this environmental catastrophe going on right next to you that keeps you up at night. It pollutes everything around you, pollutes your water, kills all the animals, kills all the environment around you. Also, you can ask ChatGPT what that word is, so it's not really worth it. So it's easy, it's easy for us because they're not going to put a data center here because we live in an area where there's just too much concentration of people, not enough land. Where they're going to go is the bigger landed states, the South Carolinas, places like that, the Idahos, places like that where there's a lot of land and a lot of environment that they can kill. So it's ultimately it's not great. So it is on us to pressure the industry to find a way to be more environmentally friendly, and that's the way to do it is to keep pressuring the people at the local level who approve these things. Say, we're not going to fucking vote for you if you just put in this catastrophe of a landmass next to where I live. Like, are you insane? And you need to push them to be cleaner and to go for resources like solar power, things of the sort that I know that they have the money to harvest. They're just choosing not to. So like ultimately, if they kill all their consumer base or the earth, they're not going to have anyone to make money on. So it kind of benefits them to not, fucking accelerate the destruction of earth, for Christ's sakes. So, but it's on us to push for it. So
I think that when people whine about these data centers, they should really focus on the more important things, like all the Haitians eating our dogs.
That's right. They're eating the cats and dogs. Believe me, they're eating Like, I never talked about that again once he became president. And all his people, oh no, he was just joking.
Horrible.
They got pretty racist over that. They're eating the cats and dogs. Literally saw so many people. But anyway. Yeah, Jeff. I mean, you're definitely not wrong. And again, it depends what you're using it for. So if you're using it for something stupid, you are part of the problem. If you use it for work and you're mindful about it, you're good. So be responsible and push your local representative to push those companies to go greener and do things that are cleaner for the environment. I'm sure it's possible. Anyways, on to the next one. We got Natalie from New York. Actually, I dated a Natalie from Long Island, New York. I'm sure this is not her, but
Heard she was a slut in high school.
Wow. Oh God. Where's this? Sorry. Anyways, she goes, hey, Frat Chat, I need you guys to settle something because I genuinely don't know if I'm overreacting or if I should be running for the hills.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, the other night I walked in on my fiance cutting his toenails. Not weird, right? People have to do it. Except then I watched him do something that completely shattered my soul. Every time he clipped a toenail, he would catch it with his mouth.
Wait, what? How do you do that?
So she explains, not accidentally, on purpose. He'd clip one, hold it between his lips while he clipped the next one, and go so on. And then he would spit them all onto the trash when he was done. I wish I was making this up. Now, here's the thing. I have a full-blown foot phobia. I hate feet. They gross me out to an unreasonable level. I'd rather watch someone throw up than touch a foot. To see my future husband basically use his mouth as a temporary toenail storage container almost made me pass out. And the worst part, he doesn't even brush his teeth after.
Yeah.
I asked him how this has ever seemed normal to him, and he looked at me like I was the crazy one. His argument was, they're my toenails. What's the big deal? The big deal is they were just on your feet. And he seriously cannot understand why I think this is disgusting. So please tell me, am I overreacting because of my foot phobia, or is my fiance an absolute psychopath? Because right now, I'm wondering if I need to add mouthful of toenails to our wedding vows. Help, Natalie from New York. No, Natalie, I don't think you're crazy at all. I think he's a psychopath, and you need to run. You need to run.
How often do you cut your toenails? My toenails don't grow that fast, so I only
really?
Periodically.
Well, mine, both my fingernails and toenails grow like really fast. Like I actually clipped my fingernails like 3 days ago, and they're already ready to be clipped again.
My fingernails are kind of long.
Those are nice. Those are very shiny. Is that a fresh manicure, perhaps?
Nope. Actually, nope. They're pretty. I think that it's just fuzzy on the computer, but they're pretty ratchet in real life.
So they say if your fingernails grow faster, it's usually a good sign of good overall health, excellent blood circulation, or genetic. And they say frequent hand use, such as typing or sports, triggers the body to send more nutrients to the nail matrix. High protein diets, younger age, and warmer weather can also accelerate growth. So my high protein diet is probably helping. My younger age, I'm sure, is helping.
Not for long.
Zinc, iron, and biotin keeps keratin production humming along. Nice. Elevated estrogen levels, often seen during pregnancy. That sounds about right. That's probably what I have.
Did I ever tell you that I had this doctor I worked with, and she's pregnant, and her hair and her skin just looked so beautiful. I said, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm taking these these prenatal vitamins. I was like, huh.
Mm.
I ordered the same prenatal vitamins. I was taking them, and then I went to the doctor, got some
Oh,
blood work, and he was like, "Your iron is like off the charts, dude. Like you're a hiccup away from a seizure." He's like, "What are you taking?" I was like, "Prenatal vitamins." He's like, "Why?" I was like, "Well, Dr. Carla takes them, and her hair looks fantastic."
she's
And
pregnant.
he was like, "Don't do that, idiot." I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty
You
bad,
live and you
dude.
learn. I have to say that in the last few weeks, I've seen 3 different individuals cutting their fingernails on the MTA on the train. And when you cut your nails, it's such a specific, distinct sound that
Yeah. Clink,
clip,
clink.
and it just makes you want to gag. I'm like, who does this? So I guess I'm not too mad at the fiance. I'm like, well, at least he's doing it in the privacy of his home and not on the train. You
Putting them
know, it could be
in
worse.
toenails too, like especially like your feet. Like if you go to the gym and shit, that all that sweat, all that shit. Like toenails can be stinky. All that stuff that gets in your feet end up there. It's not like your hands. At least you wash your hands all day, or if you're clean. But people don't wash their feet other than when they're in the shower. And even in the shower, most people don't fucking physically reach down and wash their feet. So yeah, no, that is, and you know how many foot funguses there are? A lot. Of like the most commonly transmitted thing in a gym, other than STDs, that I'm sure happens, is athlete's foot. So many people have
Yum.
athlete's foot and don't even know. So it's like,
I have a question. If I have athlete's foot and I put on my underpants and my feet touch my undies, can I transfer athlete's foot to make it jock itch? Can I give my ball sack athlete's foot?
I don't think by a quick touch like that you could, but maybe if you sit cross-legged in like one of those meditative poses and your toe was like touching your balls for long enough, maybe it could. Or if someone else is like fondling your balls with their toes and they have athlete's foot, maybe they could do it.
Hmm.
That's a thought.
Interesting. I might test out that theory.
Yeah, if you've done it, FratChatPodcast@gmail.com. Let us know.
Well, I guess my other question, so Natalie, if you're listening, um, I think it's weird that couples are so open because I wouldn't cut my toenails in front of other people. I think I'll just do it with the bathroom door shut.
Yeah.
Um, but I think to myself, how many people eat their toenails, but their spouse or their significant other just doesn't know because the door is shut? This might be an epidemic.
Probably a lot. Probably a lot. And because I had a roommate, I didn't know that he did this for years, but I walked in on him and he was just sitting there cutting his toenails in the living room and, like picking at his fucking disgusting ass toes. And it was just the way he did it was so gross. And it was like, dude, you need to go to the fucking bathroom and do this. Like, if I find a goddamn toenail on the couch, I'm going to punch you in the side of the head. Like, that is gross. What the fuck? And then you go and touch the TV remote and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, whenever I go to a hotel, I always take a wipey on the light switches and remote controls and like the telephones, anything that a lot of people touch. So I think, Natalie, I don't think it's like that weird if I think of like how many people chew their fingernails. I've never been a fingernail chewer, but I think some people are just obsessed with like fingernails and toenails. Maybe I don't know.
toenails though. I get fingernails again. They're at reach. Sometimes your nail gets long, and so you start kind of chewing at it. I hate when I have really long fingernails, so I used to clip them with my teeth sometimes, which is really bad because then you can like rip them off and hurt your fingernail. It also makes them kind of sharp, so that you can like slash people by accident. But it's not your toenail. I think. Oh, that's again. I also have kind of a. I hate certain feet, like not all feet. I guess like Natalie over here. But like, I definitely hate guy feet. Hello. I definitely hate dudes' feet. So like, I give women more of a pass, especially if they take care of their feet, because women are better at that. But there's some gnarly feet out there, dude. That I'm like, if I walked in, I saw Julie putting her fingernail or her toenails in her mouth. I'm not gonna kiss her. Fingernails, I don't have a problem with. Again, fuck it. But toenails, no. And I don't think she would want to kiss me if I had my fucking toenails in my mouth. Like,
But then let me ask you: if Stella licks her butthole and licks your face, you don't care.
oh, that's different. Stella gets a pass, and I call her out on shit. It's like, no, come on, don't lick that. Then you're gonna come over here and give me kisses. But
If I
dogs,
lick my butthole, can I lick your face?
only if you pay extra for that. Yeah, no, with dogs, at least they have like enzymes in their mouth that gets rid of like the stuff. Meanwhile, humans don't. So that's another thing I don't like. I don't like when people like lick me. Like if someone licks my face, or if I see like on movies when they do like the over exaggerated kisses and they're like just like tonguing, but they're like ah, it's like ugh. People that lick each other's tongues. Like I like French kissing. I don't like licking someone's tongue. You know, it's weird.
Well, then you never want to see me doing the dirty because I do all the things.
Simo's like a cat.
Yeah, put it in my mouth.
Simo's like a cat. First, he has to clean you.
Yep.
Hairball. Oh man. Anyways,
what's going on in the news today?
we got the news and Natalie shout out. Let us know what happens with that fiance. I don't think you're crazy. Simo apparently does, but I don't think you're crazy. But anyways, time for the news. Michael joined this time. All right. So, we got some news. All right. We got one of those stories where every new detail somehow makes the last detail sound more believable. Because if you ever wonder what happens when you try to skip the legal system using a guy who says, trust me, bro, I know a guy, buckle up. Because rapper Boozy Badass, I don't think that's his government name, says he got taken for a ride after paying $600,000 to a lobbying consulting group that claimed they could secure him a presidential pardon for his federal gun conviction. According to court filings, Boozy says he was approached by political operatives Jacob Wohl and Jack Berkman, who pitched themselves as having deep connections in Washington and close access to people in Donald Trump's orbit. They allegedly told him that they had a team working behind the scenes, were speaking with members of Congress, conservative media personalities, and people close to the administration who could help a pardon through the process. Boozy said that they kept him updated for months, sending messages claiming things were moving along, and at one point they allegedly told him the pardon was essentially approved and was just waiting for Trump's signature. Another update reportedly claimed it would be announced any day. Except, according to Boozy's lawsuit, none of that was true. The White House later said it never even received a pardon application on Boozy's behalf, meaning all those status updates may have been completely fabricated. Boozy's now suing to recover at least $300,000, saying the agreement including a refund provision if they failed to deliver. The defendants deny wrongdoing and argue they fulfilled the work they were hired to do. And honestly, the story has layers. Because imagine getting scammed while trying to hire someone to unconvict you. That's like getting robbed by the fake hitman you hired. Or calling the Better Business Bureau because your drug dealer shorted you an eighth. And here's the part that makes you really shake your head. The two men that Boozy hired to do this aren't exactly unknown. Jacob Wohl and Jack Berkman have spent years making headlines for political stunts and fraudulent schemes. They were previously convicted in connection with an illegal robocall operation that targeted voters. They've been tied to multiple high-profile hoaxes over the year. So if you're handing over $600,000 to people with that resume, I don't know what to tell you, man. And the craziest part is that Boozy says he genuinely believed everything because the update sounded so official. So imagine checking your phone every week and seeing texts like, good news, the president's about to sign it. Meanwhile, nobody had even filed the paperwork. So moral of the story, if someone tells you for just $600,000 that can get the president to erase your criminal record, maybe, just maybe, ask for references first. Or at least make sure they actually know someone in the White House before wiring them enough money to buy a fucking house. And that's the news. So, yeah, Boozy there. Boozy Badass should probably change his name to Boozy Dumbass because that's not.
I feel like you ever hear the story back in the day about this guy that tricked the emperor? He was like the emperor's new clothes. He was walking around butt naked, and then some kid was like, "Yo, you're fucking naked, bro."
Yeah, naked.
I feel like Donald Trump is kind of like that, where everyone's like, I think he goes to doctors that he's like, I only want to go to a doctor that's going to say that I'm super fit. Okay, guys. Okay, and they're like rummaging through like their Rolodex of names, and this doctor's like, fine, I'll just say he's super fit.
You see, he is just like the emperor, but the problem is the ending gets a rewrite with MAGA because, you know, everybody famously knows that everybody was going along with the fact that the emperor was naked because the whole thing was that the cloth was only invisible to those that were stupid. So if you were stupid, you couldn't see the clothes. So meanwhile, if you admitted that you couldn't see the clothes, you're essentially admitting that you were stupid. So everybody was like, oh my God, of course I see them. And you're there. So beautiful, Mr. Emperor. Oh my God, this is so nice. Meanwhile, they're like, what is this made of? And they're just fondling his balls, you know? So the way that story ends, eventually he's walking around during this big parade, and this little kid's like, oh my God, he's naked. And everybody's like, yeah, what the fuck, man? And eventually, like, the whole charade falls apart. The whole facade there falls apart, and he runs away. And, you know, moral of the story, don't be a fucking follow along. But with MAGA now, the little kid, you know, the parade will be going on. Trump's fucking walking down the street naked. This little kid will be like, oh my God, he's naked. And everybody on the MAGA side will be like, oh, no, that kid is definitely a liberal communist from the Socialist Republic of Japan. And he's definitely has TDS. He absolutely has TDS. How dare he say that the emperor is naked? Take him to Guantanamo Bay, boys. You know, and then the parade would keep on going. That's unfortunately where we're at.
Is that Trump derangement syndrome, TDS?
Yeah, that's what he calls it. Which I do believe it's a thing, but not the way that he puts it. It's more like his cult has Trump derangement syndrome. They think that he can't do no wrong, that he's like a god at this point. Like it's deranged how much they're devoted to this man. So that is the difference between current MAGA and the old stories.
You know what? Okay, do you know who Peter Thiel is?
Oh yeah.
He's like super wealthy, right? He's gay. Once upon a time, JD Vance was this pudgy, you know, loser in Ohio, and he was saying things. He said that Trump was a Nazi, right? Did he say something like that? And then he met Peter Thiel. And you ever see that show, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy?
Oh yeah, of course.
It's almost like he went through that process, and then now he's wearing like eyeliner. He's a little bit thinner, and he's like sucking Donald Trump's dick. I guess what I'm saying is, Who is taking the dick, Peter Thiel or JD Vance? Who's the bottom?
I think JD is the bottom for sure.
It's got to be,
Very
right?
submissive. Absolutely. He's very submissive. And if you see JD talk, he'd be that guy that'd be like, well, yeah, I get fucked in the ass, Joanne, but I'm not gay. That doesn't make me gay. I'm just doing the president's bidding. And if he says, JD, bend over, I'm doing it for America. Okay? So he'd be that guy. And what if sometimes you have to gobble the balls and, stroke the shaft and then lick it? That's my vice presidential duty. Okay? That doesn't make me gay. Like he's that guy. So I think he's definitely the bottom.
I wonder what the history books will say about this administration. JD Vance, like America's biggest prostitute politician, known for fucking couches. That's it.
Yeah, I guess it depends where the book is written. In the South, it'll probably be like JD Vance. He met Jesus, and what? He's totally not gay. And no, he does not fuck couches. And if he did, he didn't mean to. And if he did, it was a joke. And if it wasn't, then whatever. We like fucking couches. MAGA.
Did you know that JD Vance, his wife, has like a podcast? Usha is her name. Is about reading, and she interviewed Donald Trump and was like, what do you like to read? And he was like, articles about me. Did you hear about this? I was like, oh my God, what a loser.
I'm sure he doesn't read them. He just has people read them to him. Okay, tell me what that says. Yeah. Oh, God. Fucking idiot. Anyways.
Anywho's.
It is now time for
No.
Because everyone's favorite segment. A segment where we remind you that every week conservatives swear drag queens are the biggest threat to children, and then another youth pastor gets arrested. So shout out again to Right Wing Watch. They are great. They share the story on social media. And as you know, with this awesome little segment, it's always something that you got to hit it. Oh, yeah. Because a Randolph County, West Virginia grand jury has formally indicted 34-year-old Evan Curtis Jones, the pastor of Summit Church in Elkins, on multiple felony charges. Those charges include soliciting a minor via computer, distributing material depicting minors engaged in sexually explicit conduct, and distributing a hemp-derived cannabinoid product to someone under 21. Now here's where it gets even darker. This isn't some brand new investigation. Jones was originally arrested back in October 2025, and during his preliminary hearing, investigators testified they found photographs of alleged child victims that had been digitally altered to sexualize them. After continuing the investigation, a grand jury has now formally indicted him on those charges, meaning prosecutors believe there's enough evidence to move the case forward. And because irony apparently died years ago, Jones was known for wearing one of those freedom shirts that's become popular in MAGA circles, the same style of shirt that Charlie Kirk was wearing before he was killed. Yeah, awkward. And, the crowd that's constantly telling us that they're the ones protecting children, every week it's the same script. Protect the kids, ban the books, ban the drag queens, ban pride. And then somehow the person getting indicted is the pastor yelling all that shit.
Yeah, or it's a conservative, like right-wing elected official.
Totally. Because again, every single week, it's almost like the call isn't coming from the drag brunch.
Nope.
It's coming from inside the house. And before someone accuses us of cherry picking, that is exactly why we do this segment. Not because every pastor is a predator. They absolutely are not. It's because the people screaming the loudest about groomers so often turn out to be the ones hiding something themselves. So funny how family values always seem to come with an asterisk. Because again, as we say every single week, the call is coming from inside the house. So that is not the drag queens, people.
It's like the people who sit in the front row at the church probably have the biggest issues.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And usually they're the ones like cherry picking, you speaking of that term, from the Bible to use things out of context against other people who don't know anything.
I
from the
think they
Bible.
read these quotes off their Hobby Lobby pillowcases and they're like, I've read the Bible. No, you've read a couple throw pillows, you loser.
Yeah.
Shut your faggot ass up, you stupid bitch. That's what I say.
Oh yeah, that is good times. But yeah, I can't say that because I'll get canceled. But that's what CMO says all the time. In fact, too much sometimes. He said it to some kids the other day. I was like, "Whoa, CMO!" They're like, "Would you like to donate to charity?" And he's like, "Shut your face!" Oh, CMO.
Sounds about right.
should not cross his lawn. But anyways, that is not the drag queens, and now it is time to get to it, Mr. Mo. Because this week, let me ask you something, Mr. Mo. Have you watched a movie that's so perfect you can't imagine anyone else playing the lead? Like Harrison Ford is Han Solo. Keanu Reeves is Neo. You know, after a while, the action, the character, is the same person in your head. Here's the crazy part. One of Hollywood's most iconic roles almost went to completely different actors. And I'm not talking about random auditions. I'm talking about some of the biggest stars in the world saying no thanks, getting fired, not understanding the script, or simply being too busy to take the role. One decision, one scheduling conflict, one confusing meeting. The movie history changes forever. Today, we're counting down our picks for the top 10 biggest Hollywood casting what ifs. We look at the stories behind the world that almost happened, debate whether Hollywood got it right, and try to imagine what these movies would look like if someone else had stepped into those iconic shoes. And trust me, at the end of this, you're going to be wondering how close we came to living in a timeline where Han Solo sounded like Al Pacino, Forrest Gump danced like Tony Manero, and Neo was out here saying, "Oh, hell no." Let's get in. All right. We got some good ones here, Mr. Mo. Some crazy, crazy, cool stories. Let me just make sure because there's one that we might want to mention as an honorable mention real quick. Let me just make sure. Yeah. You didn't put it there. Excellent. So yeah, there's one that the only reason I didn't include was because we've actually spoken about it in length. That Michael J. Fox was not the original Marty McFly. In fact, Eric Stoltz was the original actor cast as Marty McFly. And here's a crazy thing. He wasn't just cast as Marty McFly. He actually filmed for about 5 weeks in the movie before the director decided that he wasn't a good fit and recast the role with Michael J. Fox. And basically, the filmmakers realized that Stoltz's acting style was a little too dramatic and intense for the lighthearted comedic tone they wanted to set. And his take on Marty made the character feel a little too dark. So, because they needed someone who could deliver like a fast-paced, funny lines with high energy, director Robert Zemeckis made the difficult decision to fire Stoltz and start over with Michael J. Fox. So they had filmed, again, 5 weeks. That's a fucked up movie. Like, in fact, they hadn't filmed most of the movie at that point. And then they had to go back and literally grind out this movie. And note, at the time, Michael J. Fox was working on that show, Family Ties. So then they worked out a schedule where he would do Family Ties from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then head over to the Back to the Future set to film scenes until the early hours in the morning. And then he would go back 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. to Family Ties. So we almost did get Michael J. Fox. And quite frankly, I don't know if that franchise is the same with Eric Stoltz. Michael J. Fox and the Doc, their relationship Marty and the Doc. Their dynamic and the back and forth and the way that he spoke and the way that he said things and the way that character was so likable and funny and charming. And I don't know if that happens without Michael J. Fox. So well, I don't know. What do you think, Mr. Mo?
I know that I saw that movie in the theaters with my parents, but I don't remember anything about the movie. I just know that I loved Christopher Lloyd back in the day. He was my favorite actor.
He's so good. He
I
has
don't
so much
remember the
range.
movie, but I didn't know who Eric Stoltz was, so I just looked it up on my phone, and they kind of he looks a little bit like Michael J. Fox when they were
He
younger.
looks similar, but he's definitely darker. And he's been in movies like The Prophecy and stuff. He really has more of a darker repertoire. I do remember Eric Stoltz in a lot of things, but he's definitely more of a darker actor. So it's not something. If you want like a lighthearted comedy, that's definitely not Eric Stoltz. But I have to say those movies really hold up, man. Julie had never seen them when we started dating, and even maybe 4 years ago, I think is when I showed them to her, and they are still so good. And I believe they've been remastered a bit over the time. So, but the special effects hold up, even if you watch the older versions. But yeah, those are definitely worth a watch. They're very funny still. And the main character, Biff, the main bad guy, Biff, who is the bad guy in all of them, is so fucking good and hateful, but yet funny. It's definitely worth a watch. But anyways, why don't you start us off, Mr. Mo?
I'm Googling Biff. I don't even know what he looks like. Oh, and I remember.
He's the guy who
Yeah.
go, McFly! McFly! I was like, nobody calls me chicken. And then hits Biff. But he's like a recurring bad, especially with time travel. I don't want to spoil it if it's something you want to watch, even though these came out years and years and years ago. But his recurring roles in it is fantastic. So definitely check it out.
He does look like a villain. Okay, so Snapple fact, did you know I was almost a Geico caveman?
You?
I auditioned and I was like one of the top contenders. And then they told me I was too young. But they were like, "You're fun, we want to work with you, but you're just too young." I said, "I understand."
What the fuck? They were like, you don't even need the prosthetics on the face. You're like, perfect, sir. But they're using prosthetics.
Because I had long hair and the audition was improv based. And they were supposed to so I guess in the audition they said something about cavemen I was supposed to react as if it was like a racial slur almost.
Yeah.
And I was like, I forget the auditor's name, but it was like Italian sounding, and I was like, "You're Italian, bitch. You're probably hairier than I am, loser." So like I got really confrontational and they were like, "That was fun. Was that like? Did you enjoy that?" Yeah. What's next? So anyway, once upon a time, I almost had my big break,
and
now I'm just sitting here with my thumb in my butt in my tiny one-bedroom apartment, age 41.
Some people have a green thumb. Simo has a brown thumb.
Yeah. Yum. Remember when I thought the elephant walks is when people put their thumbs in their butts and they put it in their mouth?
Yeah, totally.
It's not though. I thought it was. I thought it was like when you put your thumb in someone's butt in front of you and one in your mouth, and then they say switch, and you put your thumb in your mouth and the other thumb back in the other person's butt.
Simo was so disappointed when he found out.
Oh, I stretched and everything. Okay, so do you know who Mira Sorvino is?
Do I ever? Wow.
She was half of the Romy Michelle's high school reunion.
Yeah, she was.
Dynamic duo. So she
Good
was
girl.
Romy. She's like, I invented Post-its. I think she was blacklisted because of Harvey Weinstein. I think she kind of fell off the map because she didn't give in to his sexual advances.
Really?
So So in the Lord of the Rings, like trilogy, is it 3 movies, right? Trilogy.
Yep.
Later on, there was this character, I think it's like Eowyn, and she was like a noblewoman, but then she was like a warrior, and she killed that guy, and like the guy couldn't be killed by a man, some prophecy, so she ended up killing him, and then I guess it fulfilled a prophecy because she's not a man. Does that make sense? Ring a bell?
Yeah, but you just made that so like less epic than it actually was. Basically, it's the Witch King, all right, of Angmar, who's the leader of the Nazgul, and this guy is like they were kings, right, who were given rings of power too, and they became corrupted to Sauron. So if you're wearing like the actual ring, you can kind of see what they used to look like. They were men, but then they become like these like evil ghoul things, and this motherfucker is a machine, and he's out there slashing everyone left and right. Then he starts fighting her, and it doesn't look good. But then she's able to get the upper hand because then he goes like, "I will die by no man," or something like that. Or like, "No man can kill me." And then she's like, "I am no man." And then wham, stabs him right in the fucking thing. And he's like, "Wah!" You know, and it is one of the most epic movie scenes ever. That right there should have literally moved anyone over to women's rights if they hated women or something.
Well,
That
that
is one of the
actress
greatest scenes.
was Miranda Otto, but it was almost Mira Sorvino. I think there was like scheduling conflicts, and I think other factors, which may have been like Harvey Weinstein's, blacklisting. But she was almost Eowyn, Mira Sorvino.
Apparently, yeah, no, it was she did not appear in Lord of the Rings because of Weinstein specifically. It was Weinstein and his company Miramax orchestrated a smear campaign against her, and so they blacklisted her and Ashley Judd, falsely telling director Peter Jackson that they were a nightmare to work with, and to keep them from being cast. So she revealed because she had previously refused Weinstein's unwanted sexual advances.
Who in the right mind
Peter
would
Jackson,
want to touch him? He's so gross.
and apparently he had like a deformed dick too. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Ugh.
disgusting in every way possible. And disgusting. Fuck that guy. But yeah, it's crazy because it's so sad, like obviously she would have been great and good to see that after Weinstein went down, she's been working again, like in 2016 and 2017. She got back to films and she's worked with some pretty notable people since, which is fantastic. But it's tough because Eowyn is such a good. The lady that played her was so good in Lord of the Rings. It's actually one of my favorite characters in it, and I love Liv Tyler in that movie. I'm in love with her. Like she is like literally
Beautiful.
like one of the most beautiful beings ever made, especially in that role. And you watch Eowyn as the competition, somewhat, and you're still kind of like, oh man, he could go. Aragorn could go for her and be totally fine. But at the same time, she's also a badass. Like I don't know, there's so many layers to the character that it would have been very different. It was Mira Sorvino. I'm not saying she couldn't do it, but I picture her was the Michelle and Romy's high school reunion. So that's also on me for having that in my mind. But yeah, it's
I think Mira Sorvino won an Oscar for something, didn't she?
really Mira Sorvino win an Oscar. She won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in 1996. And the kind-hearted prostitute Lisa Ash in Woody Allen's comedy Mighty Aphrodite. Yeah, cool. Wow, she's an Oscar winner. So she definitely could have done it She definitely has the acting chops. When you win, they don't just hand those Oscars just to anybody, especially back then. Okay, on to the first one on my side. This one I had no idea actually until researching this, and it's Tom Hanks almost played Jerry Maguire over Tom Cruise.
Wow.
Yeah. So then this was fascinating because unlike some of the other stories on this list, nobody really screwed up. Like nobody turned down a $1 billion franchise. Nobody misunderstood a script. This one came down to one of the oldest excuses in Hollywood. I wish I could, but I'm booked. And because of that, Tom Cruise gave us one of the most quotable movies in the 90s. So let's set the scene. It's 1995, and Tom Hanks basically collecting Oscars like they're Pokemon cards. He won one with Philadelphia, then immediately wins one with Forrest Gump, and then he stars in Apollo 13. Basically, at this point, if Tom Hanks wanted to make a movie about watching paint dry, the studio would have definitely greenlit it. In comes in director Cameron Crowe, who had written Jerry Maguire, a movie about a flashy sports agent who has a complete emotional meltdown after realizing he spent his life chasing money instead of happiness. On paper, Tom Hanks sounds perfect. He's charming, he's funny, he's likable. America trusted him. If he knocked on your door asking to borrow $20, you probably give him 30. So Crowe loved the idea, and the studio loved the idea. But there was just one problem. Tom Hanks had already committed to directing That Thing You Do. So now directing your first movie isn't exactly something you squeeze into your lunch break. So Hanks had to pass. Enter a different Tom Cruise. Now here's where this gets really interesting because Hanks and Cruise are both incredible actors, but they give off completely different energy. Tom Hanks feels like your favorite uncle. Tom Cruise feels like a guy who's trying to convince everyone at the party he's totally not having a nervous breakdown, which is exactly who Jerry Maguire is. So Cruise brings this frantic energy to every scene. He's smiling, but you can tell that he's one bad phone call away from screaming into a pillow. When he starts losing clients, when he's desperately trying to save his career, when he's begging people to believe in him, you can feel the panic. And then we get one of the greatest scenes in movie history. Rod Tidwell picks up the phone. Jerry's trying to convince him not to leave. Rod starts yelling, "Show me the money!" So can we all agree that scene works because Tom Cruise commits like his mortgage depends on it? Because imagine Tom Hanks saying it. It would probably sound like, well, if you could maybe show me the money whenever you get a chance. Same words, very different movie. And speaking of iconic lines, this movie somehow gave us two. Show me the money and you had me at hello. Because most movies, that's such a good one. That was a classic. Most movies are lucky to get one quote that people remember. So this one got two. Now, here's another funny part. When people think of Tom Cruise today, they think action movies. Running. More running.
And
Somehow even more running. That's right. This man has spent 20 years sprinting through airports. But Jerry Maguire reminded everyone, this dude can act. He earned an Oscar nomination. He made audiences cry. He made audiences laugh. He somehow made people care about sports agent. That's impressive. So would Tom Hanks have been good? Absolutely. Would the movie still have worked? Probably. Would it have been the same movie? I don't think so. So Tom Hanks would have made Jerry more lovable. Tom Cruise made Jerry more desperate, more flawed, and more human. So sometimes the perfect casting choice is about finding the best actor. It's about finding the actor who had just enough chaos hiding behind the smile. And in this case, Hollywood accidentally found the perfect guy. So that's my first one. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What you got next, Mr. Noel?
I don't, I love Tom Cruise. And actually, I think his first role was in a sitcom called Bosom Buddies, where he had to dress up like a girl to live in an apartment building. That was a women's apartment building. Yeah. And so I do think he has he's the capability of being
Tom
funny.
Hanks.
Tom
Tom
Hanks.
Hanks. Yeah.
What did I say? Tom Cruise? Whoops. I meant Tom Hanks. So I can't imagine him as Jerry Maguire. I'm actually glad it was Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I can't imagine him as Jerry Maguire either. And I love me some Tom Hanks, but I will say back in the when he started out and started getting some of these like bigger roles, some of them were being that guy like um God, there's no crying in baseball. Fuck, what is that
League of
movie?
Their Own.
League of Their
With
Own.
all the
Yeah.
lesbians playing softball.
But you know, he was like that bad guy kind of who can grow. He did play a lot of those roles. So I know that he could do it. But yeah, it doesn't come
The
off
movie's big when
big. Big is really
he
good.
makes the wish that he's big.
Yep, that's another great
And I
one.
always wanted to have a piano on the floor that I can step on.
I know
Keyboard.
they made that so cool. But yeah, that's totally a different energy. And Tom Cruise being so handsome actually really works for that movie too, because it works with the sports agent vibe that he's putting off. That it's almost like this dude is full of shit, and he uses it to coast almost, you know. So it really helps the character. The being so good looking is part of the bullshit package. So Tom Hanks would have to play it completely different. And again, it would have been interesting to see. I'm not saying he couldn't have done it, but yeah, man, it's too iconic to think of anybody else doing this role. But anywho, what you got next, Mr.
You ever
Mo?
seen the movie American Psycho?
Yes.
Excuse
Love
me, I
it.
have to go return some videotapes. Um, I think that Christian Bale was fantastic in it. I think it's one of his best roles. What a great movie. So creepy. It makes and
And it
at
led
the end,
it led to a lot of other Christian Bale roles, like Batman and stuff like that. So without American Psycho, we don't have Christian Bale.
I met him. I did a press junket for I forget the movie. There's a movie with him, Johnny Depp. Mm, doesn't matter, but it was a press junket. I did it in Chicago, and he wasn't very nice, Christian Bale. He wasn't nice to any of us. And anyway, yeah, he was really unpleasant. Aside from that, he did a great job in American Psycho. But before he landed the role, it was actually offered to Leonardo DiCaprio, which I can't imagine because I don't think that he has the level of fitness at that time to really make Patrick Bateman, because like he was so like anal retentive about like his skincare routine and his exercising. He was so like OCD about everything. I just don't see Leonardo DiCaprio like looking the part. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think Leo, especially back then, you have to think about when the movie was made because he's still kind of a baby face guy, even though he's like in his 50s. But back then, he really had like a boyish look to him
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think quite fit the character. Patrick Bateman, even though he's super young looking and you can see that his skincare is very important to him, which I think Leo could have done with. Um, his look is it's a little more manly. You know, it's not. He's a little darker. He has that psycho look to him, a little bit more pat down. It's a guy who you can see that he's trying to be in control when he might not necessarily is, especially with what's going on in his brain and the fact that he's going crazy. So yeah, it would have been a much bigger role, I think, like a much bigger played role if it was Leo. I think Leo is good at being twitchy, you know, not necessarily so like in control. Um, so I don't know. Back then, I kind of thought of Leo. This is in 2000. Titanic.
Jack.
Yeah, exactly. Titanic was just 3 years before, 4 years before. So that's what I thought of Leo. I don't think I would have seen him as Patrick Bateman. Now, Leo 10 years later, sure. Or even Leo now could probably pay a good Patrick Bateman light role, especially with the fact that
But he's not in good shape. He's so doughy.
he would
Patrick
need to
Bateman's
he would
gotta
need,
be ripped.
yeah, he would need to get fit. And Leo's never been like a fit dude. He's just been super handsome and had great hair, so he coasts off that. But he's never had like a jacked body. So yeah, it really just changed a lot about the character. And I mean, even having dark hair versus blonde hair, it completely changes everything. Like it's little nuances like that. But yeah, Christian Bale is this guy. I can't imagine Leo doing it. I think there's other actors that could have done it well. I just don't think Leo would have been it. So I think they did good. Good job by doing that. But yeah, can you imagine though? That is one that he probably kicked himself for not taking.
Yeah.
It's a good ass movie. That is a good ass movie. But anyways, someone else who passed on a role that was iconic is one that I also didn't know until doing research for this. And this was that Al Pacino turned down Han Solo. And
Oh, wow.
That's how I went to Harrison Ford. So picture this. It's the mid-70s. The Godfather has come out. The Godfather Part 2 has come out. Al Pacino is not just a movie star, he's the fucking movie star. Like if Hollywood has a Mount Rushmore of actors, they're already carving this guy's face into the mountain. Now imagine you're George Lucas. You got this weird little space movie that basically nobody believes in. It's got laser swords, a 7-foot-tall dog band, robots that argue with each other, and a villain who walks around sounding like your vacuum cleaner is possessed. And somehow you convince yourself, you know who should be Han Solo? Michael Corleone. And that's exactly what happened. George Lucas wanted a recognizable name attached to Star Wars. And note, I love Star Wars, but at the time, really no one believed in it. The studio wasn't exactly overflowing with confidence. In fact, most of the people working on the movie thought it was going to bomb. Even Harrison Ford has admitted they had no clue they were making one of the biggest movies of all time. So Lucas starts meeting with some of Hollywood's biggest stars. One of those names? Al Pacino. Now, here's my favorite part of the story. Pacino has said multiple times that he actually read the script. So he didn't just pass because he was busy. He didn't pass because he wanted more money. He read it, closed it, and basically went, I have absolutely no idea what the hell I just read. So honestly, can you blame him? Imagine opening the script. Okay, so there's a moisture farmer. What's a moisture farmer? Okay, there's a Wookiee. What the hell is a Wookiee? And then they use the Force. Okay, now you're losing me. And they're flying to a planet called Tatooine. I'd be calling my agent too, Al. I don't blame him. So Pacino later joked that after reading it, he thought maybe he was the problem because everybody else seemed so excited. And he said something along the lines of, I just couldn't understand it. Which honestly is refreshing because most actors spend 40 years pretending they would have definitely picked the billion-dollar franchise. But Pacino basically said, I had no clue what was going on. And because he turned it down, a little guy named Harrison Ford got another shot. And now Harrison had actually worked with George Lucas before in American Graffiti. And funny enough, Ford wasn't even auditioning for Han Solo at first. He was helping Lucas read lines with other actors because he just happened to be around. So imagine showing up to help someone, to help somebody move and then leaving with the biggest lead role in Star Wars. That's basically what happened. So Lucas kept bringing actors in and Ford kept reading opposite them. Eventually, Lucas realized, wait, this guy is Han Solo. Now, here's why Harrison Ford works so well. Han Solo isn't supposed to be the hero. He's a selfish smuggler. He lies. He cheats. He owes gangsters money. He's sarcastic. He's constantly annoyed. He's basically the guy who gets dragged into saving the galaxy because his friends won't stop asking him for favors. And Ford played that all just so perfectly. You believe that he would leave Luke and Obi-Wan stranded, right up to the moment he comes flying back to save the day. And that's what makes Han Solo so lovable. Now let's imagine Al Pacino. Every conversation suddenly sounds like a mob negotiation. Listen, kid, we're going to get on the Falcon. We're going to make a little money. And then we're going to disappear. Ha ha! Hoorah! That's the deal. Leia would have been wondering if she's joining the Rebel Alliance of the Corleone family. And can we talk about the cantina scene? Instead of Han casually shooting Greedo, Pacino would just lean across the table for 5 minutes first. You insult me in front of my Wookiees? And then Greedo gets blasted. Different movie, same body count. But here's what's fascinating. Pacino turning down Han Solo didn't just change Harrison Ford's lives. It changed Indiana Jones. It changed Blade Runners. It changed The Fugitive. Because one decision created one of Hollywood's biggest stars. So sometimes saying no creates an opportunity for someone else that changes movie history forever. And honestly, I don't think anybody, not even Al Pacino, would argue that Harrison Ford wasn't born to play Han Solo. Plus, again, imagine Al Pacino as Han Solo. Hey, kid, never tell me the odds. Hey, Leia, you're breaking my heart here, baby. Hey, Chewie, say hello to my little friend. Not the same. Not the same. So I'm very glad. I love Al Pacino to death. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. Been in so many classics, not just from The Godfather, Scarface, Heat. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. But yeah, no, Al Pacino is not meant to be Han Solo.
I love Harrison Ford. You know, when he was in What Lies Beneath, I think he was like
Oh,
late
yeah.
50s maybe, and was in like incredible shape. He's always been like,
He's still fit. He did his own stunt
right
in
now.
the Star Wars reboots that came out, the second trilogy that came out not that long ago. He did his own stunts. He broke a rib filming his own stunts, and then he fucking was a boss and just healed up for a couple of weeks and came back and kept filming. And this was at the time he was like 76 years old. So
yeah, he's so cool. He was nominated for an Academy Award for a movie I think called The Witness, like in the 80s.
Yep.
But he doesn't really have any like major awards. He's been nominated for 6 Golden Globes. He has one, but I don't know if it really counts. It's kind of like, I mean, it counts. He has one. It's a Cecil B. DeMille Award or whatever, and they give out to people who are like have like a lot of tenure, you know, in this field, but it wasn't for a specific role. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like he I'm just surprised that he's not more of a decorated actor because he really is fantastic. I loved Indiana Jones as a kid.
Me too. I still do. And I actually just realized I didn't see the last one that came out a couple of years ago.
With Shia LaBeouf?
No. After that, they made
That's another one?
Yeah, there's one that came out maybe like 3-4 years ago. Last Indiana Jones movie release. 2023. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I saw the Shia LaBeouf one in theaters, but yeah, I didn't see this one, and I need to. Maybe that's my plans tonight.
LaBeouf is scared of gay people.
Yeah, he's just. I don't get Shia, man. I don't. I know he has mental issues, but it seems like drinking and him are not friends.
Mm-hmm. Drinking was my friend last night. Okay, so next up, I've got I don't know how to pronounce his name. Doug Gray.
Doug Gray Scott.
Doug Gray Scott. I look at it and I want to say Doug Gray Scott. He was in the movie, TV show Hemlock Grove with yeah. So I think because of Mission Impossible 2, he wasn't able to play Wolverine. So he was the first pick, and then ultimately Hugh Jackman got the role that I think ultimately made him a star. Because who was Hugh Jackman before Wolverine? You know what I mean?
Totally. And here's the thing. This was tough because, like, obviously hindsight's 2020, and I don't think Doug Gray Scott had any idea that, you know, in 2024, 2025, Hugh Jackman would still be playing Wolverine. And that's when the last time he played him. And now, in fact, he's going to be playing him right now in the new Avengers movie that's coming out. Wolverine's going to be in it. So he's still 2026 playing him and making millions. But when Mission Impossible 1 came out, that movie was it. And Mission Impossible 2 was people. There was a lot of fanfare behind it. It had a huge budget. Limp Bizkit, Metallica, and stuff were doing music for it. Like, this movie was it. So, and Tom Cruise specifically handpicked Dougray Scott to play the villain in this movie. And the only problem is that the shooting went over for Mission Impossible 2, and that's why he ended up having to pull out. If shooting doesn't go over for Mission Impossible 2, he's able to do both movies, and then who knows what happens. But Hugh Jackman really, really did a great job as Wolverine, where I think one of the reasons why the franchise ended up doing so well is good casting as Wolverine, because he is one of the most beloved X-Men characters. Like, he is like, Wolverine is in the Batman level as far as the way that people see him and love him, more so than the other X-Men. So a bad Wolverine could have killed that franchise. And Hugh Jackman, even though he was taller than Wolverine, aside from that, he was fucking perfect. He got the perfect scruff for him. He had the look. Yeah, even though his voice wasn't like in the cartoon where he talks like this, bub. He made it his own. And for example, there's a scene in the first movie where with his claws, he just sticks out the middle one to flick off Cyclops, where you're like, oh yeah, this guy is fucking Wolverine. It was not a guy playing Wolverine. This guy was Wolverine. So I would have been curious to see Dougray Scott performance at it, but not the same guy. His voice is a little lighter. It would have had to been a guy playing Wolverine as opposed to being Wolverine. So I don't think the franchise becomes what it becomes without Hugh Jackman. Like, you watch X-Men 2, I think is the one where he is running through the woods, fucking in a wife beater and claws out, and he's killing these dudes who are trying to kidnap the mutant kids, and you're like, this motherfucker's Wolverine, like going berserker. And the way that he commits, the way he gets extremely jacked up for these roles to this day, this guy is fucking Wolverine. So yeah.
I think before Wolverine, I think he had a lot of national success, specifically in Australia. I think like the theater in Melbourne, and maybe he did a TV show in Australia. And then he got
dancing.
And then he got some international success when he was in London's West End performing. I think he got nominated for like a Olivier Award, which is like a big deal in theater world. And and then I think after that, I think his first major role was Wolverine. I can't think of anything else that he did. So Mission Impossible being delayed, it was like the best news that could have ever happened to Hugh Jackman, for sure.
Absolutely.
I think he went with his wife recently and went with a younger, thinner woman.
Really?
But I've heard rumors that he might be like down for some dick. Suck a dick up for a hiccup. Yes, honey.
The thing is, oh wow, she is very pretty, to be fair. But obviously, being in musical theater and stuff is gonna always lead to gay rumors. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Twinkle toes.
Yeah, exactly. However, oh shit, no man, she's not just dating some like little model. She's 51. Sutton Foster. Julie will probably not recognize the name, but she was in the show Younger that Julie loves. She was in Flight on Concord. She was in Gilmore Girls, A Year in the Life. But yeah, Younger is a fantastic show. And she was the lead of it. Basically, this lady goes through a divorce, I think it is, and then she ends up working at this
with Hilary Duff.
With Hilary Duff, yes. And they think that she's younger than she is. So they hire her because of that, but she's actually much older. And so it's like this whole thing of her trying to navigate this life. And fantastic fucking show. So I had no idea they're together. But yeah, a lot of people have been saying that Hugh Jackman's gay for years, but it's definitely because of the musicals. Because if you see him just in his regular day-to-day life. He's just like a normal dude. But as soon as you do musical theater, everybody's gonna be like, gay.
Yeah.
The thing is, he commits to his roles. So if he's doing musical theater, he's doing it like fucking, if you're asking him to do spirit fingers, he's not going to do these because these aren't spirit fingers. These are spirit fingers, So he's
Who's that from? Is from Bring It On?
Bring it on. Hugh Jackman's a fucking professional, and that's why he makes such a good Wolverine. But anyway. On to
who's next on your list?
Up next, I got one that, again, I've been finding out lots of goodies for this episode that I had no idea. But did you know that before Tom Hanks was hired, this is now, saw Tom Hanks turn down a role. This is one that he got because someone else couldn't do this. John Travolta almost played Forrest Gump.
Gay.
Oh, gee. John Travolta almost played Forrest Gump.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this might be the only story on this list where actually everybody won. Because usually when an actor turns down a role, they spend the next 30 years pretending they never got offered it. But not this one. Because somehow Hollywood hit the jackpot twice with this. So, to set the scene, it's the early 1990s. And John Travolta is in this kind of weird place career-wise because back in the 70s, he was untouchable. Saturday Night Fever, Grease, the guy was everywhere. Then the 80s happened, and let's just say that Hollywood wasn't exactly banging down his door anymore. He was still working, but he wasn't John Travolta anymore. Then a script lands on his desk. Forrest Gump. Simple story. Sweet guy with a low IQ accidentally finds himself at almost every major event in American history. Travolta reads it, likes it, and turns it down. Now, before everyone starts screaming, remember what he turned it down for. Pulp Fiction. A tiny independent crime movie directed by some video store employee named Quentin Tarantino. Not exactly the obvious choice, so imagine being John Travolta's agent. So we're passing on the guaranteed Oscar movie for the movie where you accidentally overdose Uma Thurman with adrenaline. Bold strategy. Meanwhile, Tom Hanks ends up saying yes to Forrest Gump. Now, here's the thing about Hanks. Nobody plays sincerity better. So when Forrest says, I may not be a smart man, you believe every word. He's innocent without being stupid. Funny without trying to be funny. Heartbreaking without begging for sympathy. He became Forrest Gump, and he wins the Oscar. Actually, his second fucking Oscar in a row. Back to back, which is incredibly rare.
I love Forrest Gump. That was a great soundtrack.
So good. One of the best soundtracks in movie history, actually. Really. We used to have the CD in my house because it was so good. Now, let's check back in with Travolta. Pulp Fiction comes out. It explodes. And suddenly, he's cool again. Vincent Vega becomes one of the most iconic movie characters ever made, and he's still being used in memes today. The dancing, the suits, the royal with cheese conversation, the accidentally shooting someone in the back seat. Every scene becomes legendary. His career is completely reborn. So think about how insane this is. If Travolta says yes to Forrest, does Tom Hanks still become America's favorite actor? Does Pulp Fiction still become Pulp Fiction? Who plays Vincent Vega? Michael Madsen was actually considered for that, but that literally is a completely different movie. Not the same at all. And I love Michael Madsen. So one decision changes two classics, and that's almost unheard of. And honestly, I don't think Travolta could have really played Forrest, not because he isn't a great swagger, or not because he's not a great actor, but because he has like too much swagger. Because Forrest isn't cool. He doesn't know he's funny. Everything happens to him. Meanwhile, Travolta walks into a room like he owns it, especially back then. And Forrest walks into a room wondering if he's in the right building. You know, that's a huge difference. So can you imagine Forrest meeting Lieutenant Dan with Travolta's Brooklyn swagger? Hey, Danny, how you doing, baby? Wrong movie. Then again, can you imagine Tom Hanks trying to dance at Jack Rabbit Slim in Pulp Fiction? Actually, I'd kind of pay to see that. But this might actually be the greatest trade in Hollywood history. Travolta gets the career comeback of a lifetime. Tom Hanks gets another Oscar. Movie fans get 2 absolute masterpieces. Nobody loses, except maybe the Academy, because somehow they had to choose between Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction the same year. But again, imagine Travolta as Forrest. Hey, Mama's always said you got to keep staying alive. Well, hey, Jenny, you can tell me anything, baby. Life is like a box of chocolates. I ain't talking about Saturday Night Fever. Oh, gee. Yeah, no, not the same movie at all. So I'm glad that we got what we got. But that's that. What you got next, Mr. Moore?
I'm not really that impressed with John Travolta's accents. And when he was in Hairspray, the Baltimore accent, I didn't think was that impressive. I think he played more of a caricature than like a real person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. I honestly can see that.
All right, so
I will say it's tough because he was very fun at it. But yeah, you're right. You're right.
Remember the show Frasier?
Yeah.
I think it was a spinoff from Cheers. I think that Frasier was like a regular on Cheers. So the role of Frasier Crane was initially offered to John Lithgow, who turned it down, and allowing Kelsey Grammer to make television history.
Wow.
Kelsey Grammer is filthy fucking rich from that show Frasier.
Yeah,
Frasier, Seinfeld, like some of these shows Jerry Seinfeld, I think, is a billionaire. Like these shows made people filthy fucking rich. Back absolutely. In the day. Nowadays, I think it's a little bit different with the streaming services, but back in the day, that was like a moneymaker.
And there's like residuals and stuff. Then the thing is, like with streaming services now, there's those rights get negotiated in the contracts, but where a lot of people played out was back in the day. Obviously, they didn't know that streaming service wasn't a fucking thing, so they couldn't negotiate rights for it. You know what I mean? So then it, like for example, there's shows that are on Netflix right now that are huge. Like Drake and Josh, for example, is one. But those guys are not getting residuals from it. So the guy who played, I think it was Drake, the skinny one, was talking about how that show was like the number 3 on Netflix, but he was living it out of his car or something like that. You know, like that's fucking crazy. So, but anyways, what you got next, Mr.
I just did mine. Frasier. Yeah. John Lithgow. John Lithgow turned down Frasier. So Kelsey Grammer got it. And then Kelsey Grammer married that girl Camille, who was like a MTV dance sensation. And then she was on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And then they had a very publicized divorce. And so a lot of us kind of like were like, oh, maybe Frasier, maybe Kelsey Grammer isn't the nicest person because he was like actively cheating on Camille Grammer while she was filming. I think he got her that position on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills to keep her busy so he could like run around in New York with some hussy.
Wow.
So I don't know if I like Kelsey Grammer as a person, but he did do a good job with Frasier. But Frasier Crane, that character was such like a Don Juan like chick magnet, and I just don't find him remotely attractive. I'm not sure what the appeal is with him.
Well, I will say back then, dudes that look like that were more in, because if you think about it, the dude did have money. He was well spoken and shit. And back then, like for example, like you know, guys taking care of themselves was kind of viewed as gay. Like I literally went, oh my god, his hair's too nice. He must be gay. You know, but what gets crazy is that you know back like if you look at someone who's like I think Frasier's character in that show was like in his 30s. Doesn't look like it by today's standard. If you look like someone in their 30s now, they have a full head of hair, you know, like if you look at someone in the 80s, it is not the same thing. So I think that kind of like, for example, like you remember Austin Powers, the first one? They kind of talk about it. Like the daughter of Austin Powers' love interest before he gets frozen becomes his love interest. He's defrosted and he's asking his mom like, "What the fuck did you see in this guy?" He's like, "Harry has terrible teeth." He's like, "Oh, Vanessa, back then people didn't care about those kind of things," and it really is the same thing. People at the time just didn't give us much of a fuck. Meanwhile, now it's like if you are losing your hair, you can go take Hims or go to fucking Turkey and get, hair plugs. Like there's way more that you can do that's available to prevent aging that at the time was not a thing. So that kept guys like that in the market for ladies. But now it's like, no way. He looks terrifying. But anyways, on to my next one. Oh, and by the way, since CMO kept his story at 18 seconds, the reason John Lithgow turned down the role of Frasier is because at the time, again, it was a different time. He was a rising movie star, and he felt that doing episodic television was beneath his dignity, according to.
Oh, wow.
Because he was fresh of back-to-back Academy Award nominations too for The World According to Garp and Terms of Endearment, and he wanted to strictly focus on his film career because back then, if you were a movie actor that went on to do TV, is because things were not going well. It wasn't until later on, like for example, when Robin Williams ended up taking that TV show right before he died, it was because he needed the money. And it was right before the tide turned and TV and streaming and things like that became everything. So now it's different. Now everybody rather do a series because it guarantees you longer work for a longer period of time. And, you can do these longer storylines like Stranger Things and things like that. So they have a budget and they're bigger productions than movies ever were. But back then, not the same. But anyways, on to the next one. Over here, my number 2 is one that, again, this would have completely changed Hollywood history if this happened. Because Will Smith turned down the role of Neo in The Matrix, which then ended up going to Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
Big mistake. Huge.
Yeah. So this next story proves one thing, that Hollywood has absolutely no idea what it's doing. And that's seriously speaking. If studio executives could actually predict what movies were going to become legendary, there would have been about 12 Marvel movies in 1987. Instead, one of the biggest stars in the world looked at The Matrix and said, "Nah, I'm good. So let's talk about it." It's 1998, and Will Smith isn't just a movie star, he's the movie star. There's Bad Boys, Independence Day, Men in Black, 3 absolute home runs back to back. The guy was so hot at the box office that if Will Smith walked into a studio and pitched a movie about a guy whose superpower was folding laundry, some executive would have greenlit it. Then came along 2 filmmakers named the Wachowskis. At this point, almost nobody in Hollywood knows who they are, and they're carrying around this bizarre script called The Matrix. Now, imagine you're Will Smith. You just finished making some of the biggest alien movies ever. You're on top of the world. And then these 2 directors walk in and say, "So, reality isn't real." Okay. Humans are batteries. Excuse me? Machines have enslaved humanity. Okay, sure. You learn Kung Fu in about 5 seconds. Okay, you fucking lost me. Will has actually joked about this years later. He said that the Wachowskis spent more time explaining how they were going to film the movie than basically what the movie actually was. So basically, instead of saying, "Here's the story," they were saying, "So the camera's going to spin around you while you freeze in midair." Chris, if someone pitched me that in 1998, I think I'd accidentally walk into a TED Talk hosted by a guy who hadn't slept in 4 days. So he politely passes, and instead, he signed on to do what looked like the obvious blockbuster, Wild Wild West. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yikes. You know what? No, it's a pretty big flop. I mean, Wild Wild West, Gym Rest, Desperado, Rough Rider. No, you don't want not. Like, wasn't that the song? I think
It was.
you know,
But
there's
to
a
be
decent
fair-
music video out of it.
Yeah. And that movie sounded awesome on paper. Will Smith, Kevin Kline, big budget Western, cool gadgets, explosions. What could go wrong? Well, apparently everything, because the movie gets crushed by critics. It underperformed badly. And today, the only thing that most people remember about it, aside from the music video, which tells you something, is that giant fucking mechanical spider.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like who looked at a cowboy movie and thought, you know what this needs? A 50-foot robot tarantula. Meanwhile, a little movie called The Matrix comes out in 1999, and Hollywood basically changes overnight. The bullet time, the slow motion gunfights, the black trench coats, the teeny tiny sunglasses that look cool in exactly 3 people. Everyone suddenly starts asking, what if we're living in a simulation, man? College freshmen wouldn't shut up about it. Every philosophy professor got free lesson plans for the next 20 years. Every action movie suddenly wanted people running on walls. Even commercials started copying The Matrix. And at the center of all of it, Keanu Reeves. And now here's something I really respect about Will Smith. He's never tried to pretend he made the right choice. Like in interviews, he laughs about it, he owns it, and he even says, I probably would have messed it up. And that's incredibly honest. Because let's think about it. Keanu Reeves isn't flashy. He's quiet. He's reserved. He's kind of awkward, which is perfect for Neo. Because Neo spends half the time confused in the movie. He's asking the same questions the audience is asking. Will Smith, bless him, on the other hand, has way too much confidence. Like imagine Morpheus saying, unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. And Will Smith just chimes in, nah, man, just tell me. Movie's over, credits roll. And there's the action. Keanu Reeves trained for months. Martial arts, wireworks, weapons training. He fucking committed to this. And his calm personality somehow made the action feel even cooler. Now here's the butterfly effect that blows my mind. If Will Smith says yes, does Keanu Reeves become Keanu Reeves? Because no Matrix, maybe no John Wick, maybe we never get the internet deciding he's the nicest celebrity alive. So one decision changes 2 careers hugely. And that is fucking insane. So, again, at least to Will Smith's credit, he's like, yeah, Keanu Reeves is probably the right guy, which is something you don't hear in Hollywood a lot. So, to me, that's hindsight 2020, and it's undefeated. But again, I want to just imagine Will Smith as Neo. Joe Morpheus. Hell no. You expect me to swallow what pill? No way. Hold on. Telling me this is real? No, fuck that.
I just want to say though that Keanu Reeves, I think that people associate him so much with Matrix, and that's fair. But he had a lot of pretty successful movies before The Matrix. I mean, he was in Speed. I think there's a football movie called Replacements. I think he was in.
That came out after. Replacements
came out after
2001, I think, or 2002. No. Replacements came in like 99, I think. Yeah, I saw that in the theater.
I think that sometimes people are like,
2000 is the Replacement, but he was known as Bill and Ted is the thing. And he was sick of people comparing him to that. And so actually in The Matrix, he does play a little homage to Bill and Ted when he does the whoa thing for the first. That's homage to Bill and Ted when he's like the first time he comes out or something into the Matrix, he does something. He's like, whoa. That's like homage to Bill and Ted because that was what they used to say. Whoa.
He also did a movie with River. He did a movie with River Phoenix called, I think, Idaho or something. But I think that Keanu Reeves is a very talented actor, and I hear he's a really, really, really nice guy too in real life. And so I'm glad he got The Matrix.
Yeah, me too. And he really made that work. He fit the role of the hacker really well. Like, I mean, everything I've said, he really the fact that he's so stoic helped. But yeah, fantastic. Anyways, we each got one left, I believe, right?
Yep.
What you got?
So, you ever seen Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, buddy.
Well, before Eddie Murphy was offered the role, they actually offered it to Sylvester Stallone.
I know that one. I knew, and I'm so happy you put that because it would have been a totally different movie.
So his version was much more serious, and after creative disagreements, the role went to funny guy Eddie Murphy.
Totally. And note that this all led to Stallone actually did go ahead and make his own dark concept. He got that made, which was actually 1986's shooter hit, cult classic, Cobra, which is, I'm not going to lie, it's a pretty fun little movie. It was a box office success. It grossed over 160 million worldwide on a 25 million budget. However, compared to like Stallone's massive other hits like Rocky and Rambo blockbuster, it was considered a mild disappointment and is better remembered today as like a campy action cult classic. Meanwhile, the Beverly Hills franchise has grossed over $375 million worldwide. And that's even counting the fact that the fourth movie isn't even put into that because that was released exclusively for Netflix. So it did not have a theatrical release. So you could say that the movie probably made over $1 billion, that franchise. And I mean, like the fact that the last movie for it came out like 2 years ago, I believe, says something, and it was just as good. They could make another one right now and people would still watch it. So like Stallone did well with his own idea, but it's not the same. And it's funny, I do believe that he ended up taking some comedic roles after the fact because he thought it would kind of make up for this. And like he famously took Stop or My Mom Will Shoot because Arnold Schwarzenegger convinced him that he was going to take it first and it was like a huge flop. But yeah, he started being more open to comedy roles after this happened. So, but yeah, I can't imagine a world where Sylvester Stallone is Axel Foley. Like the banana in the car pipe, joke just doesn't happen. It's not the same as Sylvester Stallone doing it.
Yeah, I agree.
And Judd Nelson is the as the buddy in this. Like, can you imagine Judd Nelson as Sylvester Stallone's buddy comedy cop? It's just not the same. It needed to be Eddie Murphy.
It would be a whole different movie.
Yeah,
because he would have to play into his stature.
Totally.
He would have to. Only way to make people that look like that to be funny is make them dumb characters.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that Eddie Murphy actually stands out so well in Beverly Hills, not to play the race card, but the fact that he was a young, funny black guy who's boisterous and loud and in your face. So playing people's racism at the time makes him, when he walks into a fancy Beverly Hills jewelry store dressed in a sports, and literally a Letterman's jacket and shit, people are going to look at him twice as opposed to like Sylvester Stallone walking in there. It wouldn't have been the same. So it really helps the fact that Eddie Murphy made the movie. The contrast becomes bigger for this guy coming from the city that he comes from. I think it was Chicago or something, over to Beverly Hills. Wow. Yeah. That is a crazy, crazy, crazy what if right there.
Yeah.
Now for the last one, which in my opinion is just the biggest what if, not just on this list, but in movie history, because this is fucking insane to me that we know Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator. He was that guy that made that role what it is. He is the Terminator. I'll be back. All these things. That is him. Before Arnold became the Terminator, someone else almost played the role. And it was someone who all of you are going to be surprised to hear. It was none other than O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson almost played the Terminator. And I'm telling you, this isn't just internet folklore. This actually happened. Because when James Cameron was developing the Terminator in the early 80s, he didn't have Arnold Schwarzenegger locked into day one. In fact, Arnold wasn't even going to play the Terminator at first. He was supposed to play Kyle Reese, who's the human resistance fighter sent back in time to protect Sarah Connor. Because they saw Arnold as the handsome action hero. And the killer robot, they pictured someone else entirely. As Cameron and the producers kicked around name, one of the actors seriously discussed with the Terminators was former NFL superstar O.J. Simpson. Now, today, that sentence feels like someone generated it with AI after feeding it cocaine. But in 1983, it actually made sense. Because people forget that before OJ became, OJ, he had one of the cleanest public images in America. He was one of the greatest running backs in NFL history, a Heisman Trophy winner, a charismatic broadcaster, a spokesman for Hertz rental cars, and was starting to build a respectable acting career. He wasn't viewed as intimidating. He was viewed as America's smiling, lovable sports hero. So Cameron meets him. The studio considers him. And then James Cameron ultimately says no. And now here's where the story takes a turn that belongs in a Twilight Zone episode. Because years later, Cameron explains why he said no. And he said that the reason he said no was because James Cameron didn't think that audiences would believe that O.J. Simpson could be a cold, emotionless killing machine. According to James Cameron, O.J. Simpson simply came across as too nice, too likable, too friendly. So let's think about that sentence for a second. Imagine sitting in that casting meeting. Guys, I don't know, this O.J. fella, he seems totally incapable of murder. No one would ever believe me. The irony is so unbelievable that if this story had been written into a movie today, critics would say it was just too on the nose. Instead, Arnold Schwarzenegger ends up meeting with Cameron to discuss playing Kyle Reese, except during the meeting, Cameron just keeps staring at Arnold. Not because he wanted him as Reese, but because suddenly he realized that Arnold looked exactly like what a machine built solely to kill would look like. And Arnold was so into the movie that he actually would research things for the Terminator and pitch them at James Cameron, be like, no, he needs to be able to reload a machine gun without looking at it and things like that to show that he's a robot and that this is something that he's programmed to do. So you combine that with his massive phrase, the massive frame, the emotionless face, and a voice that almost sounded robotic, and he wasn't acting. He simply looked like a fucking unstoppable machine. So James Cameron later would go on to say that he started sketching ideas while Arnold was sitting there. Halfway through the conversation, realized, this guy is the Terminator. And there's just one problem. Arnold wasn't even thrilled because he didn't want to play the villain. At the time, the leading men didn't usually play bad guys because studios thought that audiences would hate them. Arnold wanted the hero role, and Cameron had to convince him that even though the Terminator had relatively few lines, he'd become unforgettable. So talk about the greatest sales pitch in movie history. Arnold reluctantly agreed to do it. And the movie comes out in 1984. It cost around $6 million to make and grossed nearly $80 million worldwide. And more importantly, it launches one of the greatest action franchises ever created and turns Schwarzenegger into arguably the biggest action star on the planet. And here's another fun twist. The line, "I'll be back," almost certainly wasn't "I'll be back." Arnold prefers saying, "I will be back," because he thought it sounded more natural with his accent. But James Cameron insisted on "I'll." So imagine an alternate universe where everyone walks around quoting, "I will be back." It just doesn't hit the same. Meanwhile, OJ's acting career continues, and he appears in movies like The Naked Gun until his image takes a hit. So he went from super squeaky clean until June 1994. Then comes the murders, the white Bronco chase.
Oh, I remember like it was yesterday.
Yeah, man, me too. Wall-to-wall cable news coverage before cable news had really become a thing. Whether people believe he was guilty or innocent, one thing is undeniable. His public image changed forever. Which brings everyone back to Cameron's original reasoning. I didn't think audiences would believe him as a killer. That quote has become one of the most famous casting stories in Hollywood history. Not because anyone could have predicted the future, but because history gave it an ending no one saw coming. Because sometimes casting decisions change a movie. Sometimes they create an iconic character. And sometimes, 20 years later, they accidentally become one of the most iconic stories Hollywood has ever produced. And that's why O.J. Simpson almost being the Terminator is number one.
That's wild. I didn't know that. A fun fact, O.J. Simpson was actually an actor before he was a professional football player. So when he was in, I think, USC, I think he played, there's some show called like Medical Center or something, and he played, what was her name? Cicely Tyson or something? Or he was like 20 years younger than her. He played her husband. But he was actually on TV doing little roles here and there, like while he was negotiating a contract with the Bills.
Wow.
So he,
cool.
So I think that people thought, well, he's a huge athlete, so yeah, like he's likable. We'll put him in movies. Well, he was already in movies.
Yeah, he
TV
was
shows.
stuff. Yeah, I see
before.
he was in Dragnet, Ironside, It Takes a Thief, The Name of the Game, and CBS's Medical Center before he was a pro football player. So
Yeah.
I'm like, good for him. Like, oh, OJ.
Rest in peace, you cold-blooded murderer.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. I do, before we wrap up, there is a story that one of his closest confidants put out, and I think this was even in a ESPN documentary, but he asked him after the trial, he spoke to OJ and was like, dude, what happened that night? And he said, without being specific, OJ said, Nicole would still be alive if she hadn't opened the door holding a knife. And that's how he left it at. I was like, oh shit, man. So that says a lot about what happened that night. But anyway, that is a case that we can study in detail in the future. We do love our true crime here at the Frat Chat Podcast. So let us know if that's something you want to hear. Shoot us an email, fratchatpodcast@gmail.com. And that is our list, the top 10.
Oh, I have to tell you something.
What ifs? What do you have to tell me?
Do you remember that show, Special Forces?
Yes.
Have you seen who's in this season coming up?
No.
George Santos.
No.
I can't wait to watch it.
No. What? Wow. Yep.
I hope he's got a really good sports bra.
Yeah. How is he going to survive a second on that show?
I don't know, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, that is absolutely wild. He is fucked. Like, NFL athletes don't make it on that show. So, yeah, he's so fucked. Anywho, that is our list.
That's our list.
Let's pray for George Santos not to die.
Yeah.
Let us know what you thought of the list. The biggest Hollywood casting what is. Shoot us an email, fratchatpodcast@gmail.com. Also, let us know any other episodes you want to listen to. Any questions you want to say, anything you want to throw out for emails from the listeners, we're waiting for you. FratChatPodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to also follow us on all social channels at FratChat Podcast. That's on Instagram. That's on Threads, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter /X. You can also give me a follow. Check out my website, carlosgarciacomedy.com. Check me out on all social channels. That's at Carlos Does the World, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, YouTube. Carlos Does the World on Twitter /X. You can check out my good buddy CMO here. Oh yeah, do it right now. Chris.moore.comedy.
Holler.
Yeah. That's on Instagram and TikTok at Seymour Comedy. On Twitter /X. Oh yeah, or everybody hit that. So, also, thanks for listening. Don't forget to hit subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, write a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Do it. It helps us out. So with that being said, Mr. Mo, it's time for us to roll. So won't you please get us out of here?
I motion to adjourn this meeting.
And I second. All right, you guys, we'll be back next week for another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasts and time. It's the Frat Chat Podcast. I'll see ya.
Bye.